your life is spent in the dark, don't you think it's time to get used to it? Now, aside from illustrating my capacity for tactlessness, which is fairly unlimited, there's two important lessons I learned that day, which I share with you, that relate to accessibility for people with disabilities. The first is that when people without disabilities get up in the morning and they go to a place to work, or dare I say, a place to get together for a LinkedIn gathering, they don't wonder, gee, I wonder if I can get in. Or I wonder if there's a bathroom I can reach. Or I wonder if the material they're going to hand out to read is in a format I can read. They just assume all of that is provided. People with disabilities don't. We can't. We can't, even when the people who we're collaborating with have the best of intentions and no hostility towards us at all. Equality for us would be to live in a world where we could make those same assumptions as people without disabilities make about their lives. That's one thing I learned that day, but there's a second lesson equally important. If you were in that courtroom 30 seconds before the lights went on and you were sighted, you looked around, you might notice that there was one person in the courtroom working who has a disability. This blind guy's got braille notes and a white cane beside him and all that stuff, and he doesn't look at his computer screen. He's got an earphone in to hear what it says. All of a sudden, 30 seconds later, what happens? There's only one person in that courtroom who can work, and that's me. I can look up any authority, cite any argument, respond to any point, answer any judge's question. Now, what had happened in the intervening 30 seconds? Had God intervened and regenerated my optic nerves? Nope. Had God intervened and caused the degeneration of all the other people's optic nerves? Nope. There had been one change, not biomedical at all. There was a change in our human-created environment. The lights went out. Disability is not biomedical. It's human environment created. If we built every meeting space with no stairs, and every workplace and school with no stairs, being in a wheelchair would not be a disability. If we had braille on every set of elevator buttons and so on, the same. It is the way we design our environment, including our workplaces, that create disabilities from those of us who may seem biologically different from the statistical average. See, the problem in our society, folks, is that we've built and operated our entire society on a fundamentally ridiculous premise. We built it on the assumption that nobody who's going to take part in it has a disability, a physical, mental, sensory, or intellectual one. Well, let's see if that touches your lives. I want to do a survey. I now teach at a law school, so I'm supposed to do rigorous research. I want to do a survey here. It's completely unscientific, and therefore it's really good. I'd like you to raise your hand, please. I want to know if this touches your life. This is totally intrusive. I want to know raise your hand if you have no disability now, and if you are certain you'll never get one. Raise your hand, please. Nope, I don't see any hands. We are the minority of everyone. When we design and operate our workplaces, our meeting places, our laws, our schools, our public transit, whatever, if we do that based on the assumption that we're assuming everybody has no disability, we're ultimately sticking it to ourselves. It's really stupid. So what do we do? What do we do? Well, there are old solutions. We need to raise awareness. That's what you'll hear from politicians and others. You know what? It doesn't work. We've tried it. Adults are too hard to educate. That's why we send kids to school. We're past the point of no return, folks. So a number of us said there ought to be a law. So we want a law. We fought for it. The Human Rights Code, the Charter of Rights. It's illegal to have these barriers. Problem is, you got to sue one at a time. I've done it. Any of you ride the TTC? You know those stop announcements you hear? You know why they do them? It's called Lepofsky versus TTC. I had to sue them once to get the subway stops announced, and a second time to get bus stops announced. It didn't make any sense that we should have to go through this. So we thought there ought to be a better law. And in 2005, we won it after a decade of fighting. It's called the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act, or AODA. Supported by all political parties, it requires the government to lead us to full accessibility by 2025 by enacting a series of detailed rules called accessibility standards that tell organizations what they got to do when they got to do it by. If you want to learn more about this, before I get to practical suggestions for you, I suggest you do two things. One is there's that pad of paper. I don't want to leave it up front for people to go to, because let me just take it and pass it around. Sign up, print your email address if you want to learn more about this issue. I chair as a volunteer the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act Alliance, or AODA Alliance. You can learn more of what's going on provincially and federally and get ideas on how to help. And you don't need, you're already entitled to join because you're already a member of the minority of everybody. So please sign up. The second thing I want you to do is to break social conventions. Normally considered rude to openly take out your smartphones in the middle of a talk like this. Take out your smartphones. Go to Twitter and follow @David Lepofsky. This is a little evangelical thing I learned to do. Take out your smartphones right now. Follow @DavidLepofsky. Bobby, spell it for him. It's a quiz. Seriously, feel free to follow us. We are tweeting actively. If you want to know, if you wanted to be the first to know whether there was anything at all about disability and accessibility in today's throne speech, you follow me and you'd find out, because we're trying to be a news source on this. By the way, the answer is no, there wasn't.